Hello, mutants. I'm Utisha, the movie goddess, and you're watching Mutant TV.
What's up, Mutant? This is Gio. I'm here today with Martin from Attrition. He has been kind enough to do the music for Family Fiend, so I thought it would be cool to talk to him. He's also a big horror fan, so I thought it'd be cool to introduce him to you guys and get to know him a little bit better. And we'll start off with the same question that we always do. What is your favorite horror film?
Favorite horror film? I don't know. That's like saying my favorite song, isn't it? I think it's got to be a zombie film. I like zombie films the best. So if I've got to then, so I've narrowed it down a bit. So I'm now looking at. I would have gone for a Romero early one, but I think I actually really like the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Sodium cyanide.
Okay.
It's a bit like in a cover version of the song, isn't it? Not the original.
Well,
I mean, I do love the original as well, of course, but I think that remake's so good. So that for today, that's my favourite horror film. It'll be different tomorrow.
yeah, that's true. It's like, it depends on what mood you're in. Just like
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Same. Even like what kind of music I like the best probably change from day to day.
Yeah.
So next we sort of ask sort of what got you into the horror movie genre usually, but this is a little different. So I'm going to ask sort of what inspired you to sort of start, I guess, not just starting Attrition, but sort of starting playing music along those lines. Because I know just from talking to you over the years that years back you were like into ska music, which people may not think since, you know, if they listen to Attrition like nowadays. And
Oh, it's nothing like that. Yeah. Well, actually, the first music I really got into was punk.
Oh, okay.
And then in Coventry, we had Specials in the two-tone label, and that was just after punk, and so that's why I got into that really, because it was like but no, punk was the thing. And then after punk, it sort of went real hardcore or new wave pop, or people started doing experimental stuff, and I went down the experimental stuff way and got into electronic music and things like Cabaret Voltaire and post-punk. So that's when I started Attrition, 1980.
Nice.
So yeah, it all came out of that really.
Okay. Now, did your love for horror, does that ever help motivate you when you're writing music, or?
I think so, because I always like the sounds of it. And yeah, I definitely think it has. I mean, I don't know how it doesn't directly go, because it's a different art form.
Yeah.
So it doesn't directly, but yeah, definitely. I think anyone that likes any music that's to any extent dark, they're going to get something from, you know, art or film or anything that is also dark. Of course it does, yeah.
I didn't know if you ever like would finish watching a movie and be like kind of in the mood and then go write something that's not really based on it, like you said, but just you're kind of inspired and you want to write something. I didn't know if that ever happened after you watched.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything inspires, like, everyone, you know, but it inspires me. I don't think I'd watch a movie and then rush to my studio and start writing something, you know. Definitely take it on board. And yeah, some of the atmospheres, and I think particularly the soundtrack as well. There's some really excellent soundtracks on horror films. I really like that. So that's inspiring in that way. I don't think zombies make me want to write songs though.
This is true. The next question we usually ask is, what do you think of modern horror?
I think there's some really good modern horror. I think like anything, you get a film comes out, and then and it might be good, and then you get like 20, 30, 40 copies by other people. And that's exactly the same in music or anything actually. So there's been quite a lot of quite harsh horror, things like Saw, and then you got things like Hostel. I mean, the Saw was great at first, but then it just got a bit too much, and there's been so many rip-offs really, and you do get that a lot. But I think it still was good at the time, and I think it's like anything. It's like music as well. There might be a good year or a bad year, you know, but I think there's just as much good horror now as, in fact, I think probably more. I think because with horror it's weird. It always has to push the boundaries a little bit further, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And unless you're particularly doing something in an old style, which is fair enough as well, I think because it's not shocking anymore. So it does have to keep pushing the boundaries a little bit. But I think some of them forget that it's not just about being shocking. There's other things that are important as well, like the story.
Exactly.
And the mood and the act, the whole thing. And it's not just about, let's show someone having a bit more of their head cut off or something.
Yeah.
That's the simplistic way, and some films do that, but ultimately they don't work. But no, I think I enjoy a lot of modern horror. I'm going to go back to. I started off with watching Hammer horror films in England. Which I used to come down after my brothers were asleep and watch them with my mum. I was like 10. And so that was the first horror films I really saw, because they were always getting shown in England at the time, like the early 70s. But they're not horror now, they're like romantic fiction or something. They're still great, a lot of them are classics, aren't they? But it's not, you know what I mean, it's not frightening.
Yeah, it's not like somebody having to cut their own leg off or something like that.
No, there's nothing like that at all.
But like you say, I mean, through the years, I mean, people kept pushing the envelope and pushing the envelope. And, modern society, we're used to a lot more jump cuts and a lot more fast cuts and everything like that. It's been really jarring to people back then. So.
Yeah, that's right, I think. And that compares to music. Everyone wants a quick download now rather than listen to an album.
True.
It's like people's attention spans less. I'm sure that must affect how people have to make films.
And just a second ago, you were talking about mood in horror films, and it sort of brings me to my next question, which we have an anthology DVD coming out called Tales from Mutantville, and one of the movies I wrote and directed called Family Fiend, and you were nice enough to score it for us. And I was going to ask how it was sort of scoring a film, because I think that was the first time you'd done that, correct?
Yeah, I've had music, used in films, but that's different when people have taken something I've already done. So that was the first time, and I really enjoyed it actually. But I'm not a traditional musician, so I wasn't like playing little fancy piano parts or anything. So I did it in probably quite an avant-garde way compared to some things. But I enjoyed it. It worked really well. It was something I'd definitely like to do more of.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, that's one thing some of our other guys in Mutantville said, that when they saw it mixed, is it just created the mood. I mean, because it's kind of dark and just full on from the get-go, so it just helps really set the mood, and it's just really awesome. I was just really happy with it when I heard it. So.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it has a foreboding sort of undertone, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, what was your process like then for that? I mean, did you have some themes and ideas in mind? I mean, because I know you started from the script. I sent you, as soon as I had the script finished, I sent you the script, and you had the script like for a little while before you actually got.
Yeah. Well, I had a little piece that I'd written. I'd sort of like demoed something like an ambient piece anyway, and then I thought, and it was short. It was only because I think the film was about 7 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, 7 or 8.
Yeah. And what I'd done was just a few minutes, and I thought, oh, this could work. So the mood just seemed to fit. So I basically totally I rewrote it really. I just used that as a starting point, and also stripped it out because it got too much in for. So I'd spread it all out and added different elements, obviously around what was happening in the action. So it just started from there really, some little grain of an idea that I'd already done that I thought this is going to work.
Cool.
It worked.
And the last question we usually ask is sort of what's going on with you. Like, I know Attrition has been around for a long time now, and you've put out a ton of albums, and I know you've been touring. You went to Brazil recently. You go to Russia, Europe. I mean, for people who may not be as familiar with Attrition, you want to talk a little bit about that, like any tours you have coming up, or shows, or albums that you're working on?
Yeah, just sort of in brief, it's been 30 years since I started. So recently, yeah, we do. We started off in Europe and putting our albums on indie labels in Europe, and eventually got over to the States in the 90s and did quite a lot of tours. And we're on Project Records there.
Yep, that's where I first saw you. I saw you at Tremont Music Hall and you were with Sean from Eden.
Oh yeah. I was just talking with him on Facebook the other day.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's weird, Facebook. I hadn't spoken to him for years. So yeah, we did that, and then since then I don't know. We've done a lot of albums. We've done live albums and best of. But I think we've done about 18 fairly regular albums, and then a few extra things. And lately we've been all over Europe. We've done a couple of tours in Russia, got Siberia, crazy, in January.
Oh wow!
Yep, it's cold. But I'll tell you what, all the trains run. They know how to survive in the cold. So actually, it wasn't as bad as you'd think. It's almost too hot when you're inside it. And then this year we've done new places like Brazil, and we went to Finland as well. We've never been. So we're always doing some. We've got a couple of shows. We're going to Belgium and Italy next month. So we're always playing now. And also I've got a new album which I'm finishing over the next couple of months.
Well, I greatly appreciate it, and I greatly appreciate you doing the Family Fiend score, and
I loved it, thanks.
Look forward to sending you the final version. I know
I haven't got that yet. Right.
Want to tell people the website?
For Attrition, it's www.attrition.co.uk.
Cool. And you can also look him up on Facebook. So one other thing that Martin does is he produces and mixes for bands and labels. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, I've always done a little bit over the years, ever since I got my own studio together, which was about 18 years ago when I started my own studio. But it was mostly for Attrition at the time, and then I'd occasionally do some work with the bands. But I didn't really have a lot of time because I was teaching as well, teaching music technology. But I've just recently stopped doing teaching. So I've taken it full time actually, doing production, remixing, and mastering as well. I've been doing mastering for various labels. And I've just produced a Canadian band. Just today starting on a band from Brazil.
Well, cool. And I guess if people go to Facebook, is that the easiest way for them to get, if they had like an album they wanted to get mastered, or?
Yeah, well, either through the website, the email, or just catch me on Facebook. And, if anyone's interested, just get in touch and chat about it.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.